Alright, welcome back, or if it's your first time here, welcome. Yes, I'm actually not filming myself for this video. I bought a mic, I feel very professional. It's not the fanciest mic out there, but still, we're stepping up our game over here. Anyways, you may or may not know that I've been wanting to start doing some more food history content because history and food are two of my favorite things. And for this type of content, I thought this style of video would work better, be more enjoyable for you, the viewer, if I wasn't on camera, so we're trying this out. Before I get any further, let me introduce myself again. My name is Morgan and I create lots of different food content. On here I have lots of series like food fails, Reddit stories, but I'm also over on TikTok and Instagram where I go by the handle Morgan Chomps. I'll link those below. I'm very active on those platforms. So with all that intro stuff being said, today we're going to dive into a strange plot that involves chocolate, explosives, and two main leaders in World War II. I can probably guarantee you didn't learn about this in your history classes, so let's get into it. The story I'm about to tell you today wasn't actually really known until 2009. Of course, those who were directly involved in this event knew that it took place, but like the general public, nobody else really knew about it. Until the moment a letter was discovered. This letter was found by the wife of the recipient, and she actually found it after the recipient had passed away. She had been going through his possessions and stumbled across this letter. I thought that would be interesting to note before we get too deep into the story. But yeah, this story was kind of forgotten, if you will, for decades. The story officially broke to the general public in 2012, 3 years after the initial discovery of this letter, and we're going to discuss that letter later in this video. But let me start by giving you a quick rundown of the key players of this wild story. We have Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, and then we have the British government and the Prime Minister Winston Churchill. And we have a plot to assassinate the Prime Minister via hidden explosives. Hold for suspense. In chocolate. So that is the whole mess we're going to be diving into. Alright, let's take it all the way back to the year of 1943. The world is in the thick of World War II, especially Germany and Great Britain. This war was really a war of mind games between the biggest political leaders at the time, namely Hitler and Churchill, but also Franklin D. Roosevelt, aka FDR, which was the president of the US at the time. So we essentially have this climate of these big figures trying to outwit one another, you know, alongside the atrocities of the war itself and the inhumane carnage, but that's not what this video is about. So we have Hitler, who is frankly unhinged in many ways. He comes to a point in 1943 where he wants to off Prime Minister Winston Churchill. He asks his Nazi minions to come up with a plan to accomplish this goal, if you will. The Nazis were many things, but they were crafty. This is not meant to be a compliment, but they were quirky. So quirky. I feel like any other word I choose to describe them that's not disgusting or sick is just giving them too much grace, but what I'm trying to convey is that they just had some wild-ass ideas. So they're given this assignment from Hitler and they start to brainstorm ways they can even get to Churchill to take his life. I mean, this is the biggest target they could have received. This is not going to be a walk in the park. The thing about Churchill is he's recognizable, he's in a position of power, he's pretty loved at the time in the war, a champion of Britain if you will. Think his speech about "we shall fight on the beaches," etc, etc. People already know he has a target on his back, he's got protection, obviously. Well, it's apparently well known that he loves cigars, fine brandy, history, and that he has a giant sweet tooth. This is where the Nazis have that light bulb moment and are like, oh, this could be our in. So what kind of plot do they come up with? They start to craft this plan of hiding an explosive in a chocolate bar. So let's talk about the plot itself. The ultimate goal of this plot was to plant exploding chocolate in the dining room of the Prime Minister's war cabinet, so that upon detonation, Churchill would be killed. Yes, the Nazis were planning on making a chocolate bomb. And no, we're not talking about the fun hot chocolate, hot cocoa bomb you can get at the grocery store. This was to be an actual explosive device in a chocolate bar. So, the Nazi bomb makers draw plans to coat explosive devices in a very thin layer of dark chocolate, and then, as the finishing touch, package it up all nice. On screen is what these chocolate bars would have looked like. They plan to brand it as Peter's Chocolate, with this nice black and gold packaging. So ideally, the chocolate bomb would operate like this. When whoever was handling the chocolate bar would break it into pieces, this would trigger a delayed mechanism via a piece of canvas. Y'all, just know too, I'm reading a description, I'm not really understanding what this exactly means, because believe it or not, I'm not a bomb expert. So take this information how you will. Anyways, once this contraption was put together, secret agents in Britain, working for Germany, would smuggle this chocolate into the war cabinet's dining room, so that it could reach its intended target, Churchill. The device, if everything went to plan, would explode 7 seconds after being unwrapped, taking out not just the Prime Minister, but snuffing out the lives of those in the close vicinity as well. Well, as crafty and secretive as the Nazis thought they were, this plot was uncovered by British spies. These spies tipped off Lord Victor Rothschild, a senior intelligence officer working for MI5, which is the United Kingdom's domestic counterintelligence program and security service. You might have heard of MI6, which employs the fictional character James Bond. Well, this MI5 agent, Lord Rothschild, is tipped off that the Prime Minister's life is in danger because of this chocolatey plot. Rothschild decides to take this information and warn the public in an indirect yet clever manner. He immediately contracts an artist and illustrator by the name of Lawrence Fish. He wants Fish to draw poster-sized images of the exploding chocolate bomb to kind of warn the public to be on the lookout for any of these types of chocolate bars. By doing this, Rothschild is kind of able to employ the public to help stop this plot without having to actually tell them what was going on. So Rothschild had contacted Fish to create this campaign through a letter. And this is the letter that I kind of hinted at in the beginning of the video. This is the letter that Fish's widowed wife would eventually find as she was going through his possessions after he died in 2009. At the time of his death, Fish was 89 years old. Now, what did the letter say? Well, let's read it. It said, "I wonder if you could do a drawing for me of an explosive slab of chocolate. We have received information that the enemy are using pound slabs of chocolate, which are made of steel, with a very thin covering of real chocolate. Inside there is a high explosive and some form of delay mechanism, but we do not know what, so it could not be put in the drawing. When you break off a piece of chocolate at one end in the normal way, instead of it falling away, a piece of canvas is revealed stuck into the middle of the piece which has been broken off, and sticking into the middle of the remainder of the slab. When the piece of chocolate is pulled sharply, the canvas is also pulled, and this initiates the mechanism. I enclosed a very poor sketch done by somebody who has seen one of these. It is wrapped in the usual sort of black paper with gold lettering, the variety being Peters. Would it be possible for you to do a drawing of this, one possibly with the paper half taken off, revealing one end, and another with the pieces broken off, showing the canvas? The text should indicate that this piece together with the attached canvas is pulled out sharply, and that after a delay of 7 seconds, the bomb goes off." This letter had been stamped secret, and this is an image of the actual thing. Now that is what I call a commission. Imagine getting that assignment as an artist. And that, my friends, is the foiled attempt at assassinating Winston Churchill through exploding chocolate. I find it so interesting that Hitler at this point was so adamant at taking Churchill out when people in Hitler's own Nazi party were also planning to take him out in a similar fashion. Not through chocolate though, I do want to point out. I guess you get back what you put out. With that, I hope you enjoyed learning about this weird chocolatey plot. Let me know if this kind of content interests you. If it does, please consider liking, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out my TikTok and Instagram. The links for those are below. I do lots of taste tests. I share amazing food finds, food deals, all sorts of great stuff. So definitely worth a scroll. That's all I have for you today. So as always, have a great day, stay safe, eat something yummy, and I'll see you in the next one.